I'll bet you have these little beauties in your kitchen right now. What if I told you there are so many other uses other than making coffee? Let's go. Hello, welcome back to the Crafty Organizer. I'm Noreen Burke, and on this channel, I love bringing you ideas for organizing, decluttering, doing DIYs, upcycles, and anything crafty. But I also love bringing you compilation ideas for things that have so many multi-purposes. And did you know that coffee filters has a ton of them? Even though these were introduced in the late 1700s, the patent for what you are familiar with today didn't go through until 1908 by a housewife who was sick of the bitter taste that came with brewing the coffee. So, what else can you do with these? Let's start in the kitchen, but not by making coffee. If you've ever been baking and realize, I don't have any muffin liners, fret not. Grab one of those coffee filters, quarter it up, and cut it so that it's a smaller diameter. These are a great substitute for liners when you're making muffins, but the full size is great if you're making a larger muffin or a small loaf. One of the reasons they're so perfect is these are already made for food, so they're made with clean papers if they are recycled, or virgin paper if they are a higher quality coffee filter. They're also perfect for absorbing any extra oils and moisture. And because they're absorbent, the next time you're putting your cast iron pans away, put some coffee filters in between. They'll absorb the moisture, keeping that rust at bay. Another great use is to put them in between your plates and china. Because the bottoms are touching the tops, oftentimes we get those fine scratches. If you've got a great set that you're trying to protect, one of these little coffee liners is the perfect thing to keep those little scratches from happening. They're great for packing, and it also keeps your cabinets quieter if you have one of those rattly shelves. Another great use in the kitchen, the next time you're microwaving, set one of these little coffee filters on top of your small plate or bowl. This keeps the splatters from happening, meaning that cleaning up is a breeze. Speaking of cleanup, when you're cooking, if you don't have a dedicated spoon rest, put one of these little coffee filters down. Because these are so affordable, you can just set one on your counter, set your spoon rest there, and you won't have a messy counter when you're done cooking. If you've watched my channel for a while, you know I'm not a cook. I can do it, I can feed my family, but it's not a task I enjoy. And because of that, I don't have a lot of tools in my kitchen. The few times I have branched out and I'm cooking something and I've needed to strain either the stock or the gravy or whatever, I don't have those types of tools. If this happens to you, get out one of your small strainers, put a coffee liner in it, and you can strain out anything from what you're cooking. What a genius idea. And speaking of straining, this one has happened to me. If you open up a wine bottle and some of the cork disintegrates and goes inside of the bottle, fret no more. Go ahead and get one of those coffee liners out and you can sift out all of those little cork bits. In this next example, we're not trying to sift things out, but keep them contained. If you have loose leaf tea, you could take some of your little coffee filters, create a small satchel, staple it just like your tea bag is, and now you can drop this whole little satchel inside of your tea and let it steep for as long as you want, then sit back and relax. This next idea is great if you're having an impromptu gathering where you just need to set out some snacks. Go ahead and use those coffee filters and you can let them divide the little snacks that are inside. This is also great if you're trying to pre-measure out those ingredients when cooking or baking and you don't want a lot of dishes. Now let's leave the kitchen. I had already mentioned that coffee filters are great because they're intended for food already, which means you're not going to get those little lint fibers, and they're purified, which means they are a great cleaning tool. You can use this on your electronic screens, eyeglasses, windows, and I've heard it's one of the best products to use on stainless steel. Now, I don't have anything that's stainless steel, so if you've ever tried this, please leave me a comment below. Let me know how well it works. There were so many of these ideas I really wanted to try, but I would love for you guys to give me that feedback and let me know which ones are tried and true and which ones maybe not be as efficient as I had read. The next one is an area that I am proficient in, and that is the garden. I love getting seeds from foods that I've had, saving them up, doing exchanges with other gardeners, and seed starting or propagation is one of my favorite things to do. Using coffee filters is great because you can set aside small little bundles of dirt with the seeds. You can keep them in a larger box, but the best part is once those sproutlings go ahead and pop up through the ground, you can pick up this whole little clump of dirt gently, plant it, and the filter will biodegrade on its own. I love this idea. Way less expensive than those little composting containers that you can buy. This one's a winner for me. While we're planting, how often do we get cute pots and they have that big drainage hole at the bottom? What happens is when we water, the dirt oftentimes leaks out as the water drains. The next time you go to plant in one of these pots, get a couple of those coffee liners at the bottom of that pot before replanting, and the water will come out, but the dirt will not. This next tip isn't necessarily planting, but it is with your flowers. The next time you want to press a flower, place your flower in between two of the coffee filters, let them sit in a book for a week or two. The filter will absorb the moisture, leaving you a perfectly pressed flower or leaf. Now, this wouldn't be the Crafty organizer if I didn't do something with crafts on these coffee filters. Let's start with Embroidery. Artfully So shows how you can use a coffee filter as a stabilizer when embroidering. She cuts out a piece to fit the back of her pattern, stitches in, and that way the threads do not tear through the fabric. It just acts as a strengthener. Now, I did read on other websites that sometimes if you don't cut off the excess well, when you wash the item, it comes out and will gum up your washer. So do make sure you're removing the excess when you're done. But I think this is such a great idea. And may I point out the price difference between stabilizer and coffee filters? Huge. Now, most of us think of these little flowers when we think of crafting with coffee filters, but what if I told you there are some amazing wreath ideas out there? I made sure to include the website link so that you can find these and follow the directions, but this sunflower wreath is stunning. Martha Stewart had this amazing dandelion project that she made, which I think is just the cutest thing ever. But I have to confess, this vintage looking wreath with tea and a little bit of watercolor is absolutely stunning, and it's all done with coffee filters. This next flower you're not going to believe. Remember the example I gave of quartering up those coffee filters? Well, this particular crafter punched a hole in the corner, layered multiples of them together using that hole as a joiner with a brad, fanned them out, and then just put a glass bead in the middle. And I think this is absolutely stunning for a full effect. Imagine this in an arch or a decoration in a nursery. I think this is absolutely beautiful. But if you Google ideas with coffee filters for flowers, you'll be blown away by some of the ideas, including little Christmas trees and tree vignettes. You can make these as whimsical or as elegant as you want. If you are making Christmas trees, it means it's probably the holidays and you're pulling out your decorations anyway. Why not use these coffee filters to wrap up your small decor pieces or fragile ornaments? Once again, it's perfect because of the corrugated sides. They're going to give more cushion, they're inexpensive, and you can wrap them small and put them into boxes. I love this idea. But what are some of the things you use coffee filters for aside from making coffee? Let me know in the comments below. And again, if you've tried any of these and you find it wasn't a great match, let me know that too. I love hearing the feedback from you guys about what works, what doesn't, and the amazing ideas that you have. I don't know if you noticed, but my background is different. And the reason I didn't get to post a video last week is I'm not in my garage. I'm in a completely different place right now. I'm in a room, which means no extreme heat in the summer and no freezing temperatures in the winter. I'm so excited about this. The rest of my space is not camera ready, but my backdrop is, so hopefully you will be along for the journey as I show the progression of how my room will develop. I could not make these videos without my patrons, so thank you to them. But thank you to you for stopping by, watching, leaving me a comment. If you liked it, click the like button. And if you found this had any value, share it with someone. All of those things really help my channel to grow. So thank you so much, and I will see you guys in just a few days. Bye.